The pressure is immense. You're in the middle of beautiful chaos, surrounded by moments that are never going to happen again. The bride is about to walk down the aisle, and then suddenly the sun bursts through the window at the side. And in that split second, you realize that your camera settings, which you had set originally, are now wrong. You could feel your heart pounding in your chest. You're frantically spinning the dials on your camera, your eyes looking through the viewfinder to make sure that the exposure is correct. In your head, all you've got is the exposure triangle flying around. And by the time you're ready, the moment's gone. The single tear just rolling down the father's cheek, the quick nervous look between the couple, it's just gone. Forever. All because you were too busy being a camera operator instead of the photographer. That was once upon a time me, and it was at that moment I knew I had to change things for the better. For years, I believed that to be a real wedding photographer, you had to shoot in manual mode. Let's be fair, it's the message that just gets hammered into us from day one. You've heard it, I've heard it. Pros only shoot in manual. It's treated like a bloody rite of passage. It's the only way to prove that you've mastered photography. I've preached it, I've lived by it, and in the past, it's almost cost me some of the most important parts of a wedding day. So you know what I did? I just ditched manual mode. And letting go of that pressure didn't just save my sanity. It made me a better, more creative, more successful wedding photographer. When you're starting out, learning manual mode is like photography 101. It's essential. It forces you to understand the relationship between ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. But somewhere along that line, that educational tool almost becomes like a badge of honor. Almost like a rigid rule that says for you to be a professional, this dial has to be set to M all of the time. But here's the thing. Weddings are unpredictable. Light can literally change in the blink of an eye. You're constantly having to play catch up with that light. And in wedding photography, a second late is a missed shot. There's no do-overs. You can't really turn around to the bride's dad and say, whoa, hang on a second. Can you just get all choked up again for me, please? The mental load is just staggering. You're there trying to manage ISO, shutter speed, and aperture, focus and composition, all whilst anticipating them really nice, subtle moments. It's like trying to juggle 7 balls, and eventually, no matter what you do, you're gonna drop one. So what's the secret to getting consistently beautiful photos in constantly changing light whilst focusing on the creativity? It's a controlled semi-automatic mode that you can set up on your camera that I know a lot of other photographers use, but probably don't talk about it in the fear of being called an amateur. Here it is. Aperture priority combined with an auto ISO and a minimum shutter speed. Whilst that sinks in, let me just break down why that is a game changer. Firstly, I set my camera to aperture mode, whether that's A or AV on the dial. This allows me as the photographer to set the aperture, and the camera's computer inside intelligently chooses the shutter speed for me. Now the aperture for me is my most creative tool. It allows me to control the depth of field, so it allows me to have a bride pop out of the background on a photo. For that portrait of a bride, I might use, let's say, f2. For a large family group, I might use f4 to f5.6, just to make sure everybody is in focus. I make the key creative decision, I let the camera do all the heavy lifting. But what about the change in light? Well, this is where the magic happens. On my camera, I enable auto ISO. Let's face it, modern cameras have an incredible ISO capability. And by letting the camera adjust its own ISO automatically, it reacts to something changing in the environment, whether that's the cloud coming over and blocking the sun, or the couple simply moving from a really dark area to a brighter area. Now I know what you're thinking, if the camera gets to choose the shutter speed as well, surely at some point the shutter speed is gonna go too low that everything starts to look a little bit blurry. Well, that's the final crucial piece to the setup, setting a minimum shutter speed that the camera can go to. Deep in my camera's menu, I can set a rule, like never allowing my camera to drop its shutter speed automatically under 1/250th of a second. For me, 1/250th is a safety net. It's fast enough to capture the motion of people walking, children playing, talking, laughing, pretty much anything you're gonna come across at a wedding. So here's how all of this works in real time. Let's say I'm outside with my couple and I set my aperture to f2.8. When the sun is out and the environment is really bright, the camera will drop its ISO automatically to ISO 100, which is the lowest that my camera can go to. Once it's dropped the ISO down to 100, if the image still isn't dark enough to meet the exposure, it will then start shortening the shutter speed all the way up to 1/8000th of a second, which is the fastest it can be. Sometimes on the sunniest days, admittedly, very rare in the UK, even with the ISO set to 100 and the shutter speed set to 1/8000, the image will still potentially be overexposed. On these occasions, you've got two options. You can either close the aperture a little bit to let less light in, or you can use an ND filter. What I want to point out is what you're doing here is no different to what you would do if you were shooting in manual mode. This problem is still going to arise. Then let's say that the couple walk into a shaded area. Instantly, without me touching a single thing, the camera will keep the aperture to f2.8, but the shutter speed will start coming up to meet the exposure all the way up into 1/250th of a second. Once it hits 1/250th of a second, if for any reason that the image is still underexposed, it will then start increasing the ISO gradually up until the point that the image is exposed correctly. Overall, the exposure stays perfect. I haven't missed a beat, and I'm focused on the moments that's happening in front of me, not on my settings. Now, the final layer of control for you is the exposure compensation dial. This is my brighter, darker dial. Sometimes there's going to be occasions where the camera is fooled a little bit. This could be down to the bride's wedding dress, it could be down to the groom's suit. Therefore, it's telling you that the exposure is dialed in correctly. However, you may feel like it's a little bit too close to clipping or potentially a little bit underexposed. All you need to do in them situations is grab the dial and increase it or decrease it ever so slightly. Most of the time it's 2 notches up or 2 notches down. It's very rarely anything more than that. But it's a really fast, intuitive way to guide the camera's automatic choices. And remember, you're probably shooting in RAW, so the headroom and editing capability is so much higher than what you would expect. Switching to this workflow wasn't about being lazy. It's the moment I decided that my job isn't just to operate a camera, but to see and capture the emotion that the couple wanted me to do. And professionalism, at the end of the day, isn't about the mode that you're in. It's about delivering consistently excellent results for your couples. Does this mean that I never use manual mode or even manual mode again? Of course not. A real pro uses the right tool for the job. When I'm using a flash at the reception or during the first dance, I'm in full manual mode. In that more controlled lighting situation, I want absolute consistency. If I'm shooting a long exposure, then I'm going to be in manual all the way. The point isn't that manual mode is bad. I just don't feel like it's always the best tool for every single part of a really fast-paced wedding. The fear of not being seen as a real professional is massive, but I've learned that the best professionals that you should be looking at are the ones that prioritize getting the shot that they need over following some outdated rule. And you know what? None of my couples care what camera mode I shoot in. All they care about is me turning up on the day, having a nice time with them, and getting the photos that they want. This workflow was a massive revelation for me, but I also know it's a hot topic and every photographer is different. And that honestly is what makes this entire community so great. So I want to hear from you. What's the mode that you go to when it's a really hectic wedding day? Are you a manual purist, or have I maybe converted you to try this other mode? Perhaps you have an entire different system entirely. But let me know down in the comments. Finally, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more from me, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for the notifications. But if you want to see a video right now, then watch this video right here. It's a goodie.